listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome, everybody, to the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, and this week I have a very special World Cup recap episode of the Casting for Fun podcast. The World Cup's been dominating my life the past week and a half. It's all I've been, not all, obviously I'm a well-adjusted, well-rounded person, but I've been constantly keeping track of the scores, while all the teams are doing, and of course, especially paying very close attention to how the United States men's national team is performing. They performed very well. They've had some gutsy performances. It's been so much fun watching them play. I've never been prouder. They've been really, really great. And of course, I get to chat about the World Cup and the men's national team with two of my closest best friends, Marcello Ambriz and Derek Dupre. Marcello's been on a handful of times before, and this will be Derek's first time on the podcast. So I'm hoping it'll be the first of many. So we get to chat about how the men's national team is doing, how the World Cup's been going on in Qatar, and it's just fun and great catching up with old friends. So here we go. This is my conversation recapping everything that's happened with the World Cup to this point with my good friends, Marcello and Derek. Joining me tonight on the Casting for Fun podcast is my good friend, Marcello Ambriz, returning to the show, and coming on the show for the very first time, my other good friend, Derek Dupre. Gentlemen, it's good to see you both. How's everyone doing tonight?
Fantastic. Sensational.
Good. So really, really exciting game today. To be honest, I think this whole tournament's been pretty exciting and unpredictable with some of the results we've gotten. Would you guys agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think I come from just a negative standpoint when it comes to the U.S. national team. But man, the talent that we have is surprising, and and they're not defending, they're attacking, and they're being very, they're threatening. So I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, me too, man. So I definitely want to go over the three games with you guys, just our takes on how the U.S. performed in all three. So Wales, England, and Iran. And then, of course, go over the rest of the Cup. I mean, just like highlights, other things that have happened. There's been some interesting talking points, even stuff outside the football arena, which is kind of interesting too. First and foremost, I wanted to ask you both the question: do you like the format the scheduling of the games right now? November into December. I mean, we remember when Qatar first won this bid way back in 2010. In fact, if I remember correctly, I was at Dexter Street apartment with Nick and Marcello when we watched the live results.
That's right.
Remember that? Yeah, now here we are 12 years later, and it's finally here. Obviously, because of the conditions of the country, they have to do it now. But I find it actually it's been kind of enjoyable, I think, during this time of year. So I wanted to ask you guys, what did you think? Do you like the summertime better or right now?
Honestly, Albert, between me and my brothers and my family, we were pretty against this format. Everyone's talking tracks about this whole Qatar thing and FIFA, shenanigans. But as it's rolled on, I've actually I'm this has been kind of fun that it's happened during holidays, because you don't have to pretend to be off from work. We're watching games during Thanksgiving, and then rolling up to Christmas. It actually is kind of nice. You're not. It's kind of just blending into the normal holiday season, which we were all against it before it started, but now I'm kind of easing into I like this. I wouldn't mind if it happened again. Not that it would.
Yeah.
I think the quality of play is really, I've heard a lot of people mention that, at the end of the season, if this was a normal World Cup, you'd have people coming out of their leagues having played 9 months straight, essentially, and then having to go into a camp for about a month and a half, less than a month, and then playing. And although these guys are professionals, and I'm sure their quality of play would still be great, I don't think it would be as great as it is now, because, they've just finished about 3 months of their domestic seasons. And then they just go straight into playing, almost hitting their stride in their club teams. So I think I like that aspect of it, but also the timing because I'm an early bird. And so like I'll wake up at 4 in the morning for Arsenal matches. And then now we actually get to see, I'm waking up, watching a match, going back to sleep, and then waking up and watching another match. And then it's not like really a hindrance to my day, especially since I work from home. So it's great.
I would agree with Marcello, but I also would say I think Marcello would agree with me. It's kind of ruining the Premiership League though too, So hey, but if it's every 4 years, give and take, but I think it's actually turned out good for the World Cup in form of play, but it's making the league suffer, if that makes sense.
I mean, especially with Arsenal having had like the amazing run that they have in the Premiership, it's like,
And that's why I love this because Arsenal is like this. So
someone's a Tottenham fan over here. I don't know.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Yeah, I agree with what you said, Derek. It's been kind of nice for, holiday get-togethers watching the games. The fact that, last weekend I got to go to Arizona. So I got to watch the game with my dad, which was really fun. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
So things like that. I think it was genius planning to schedule the USA England game on Black Friday. To not conflict with the NFL, but also give you something like tantalizing to want to watch.
Which is great because it only affects really, I guess, the USA because Thanksgiving bleeds into Christmas, and so the whole world is not as blessed as us. But hey, USA, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Really quick. So when I'm looking on Fox Sports for like the link to watch it live, this past weekend, it looked like it's a small detail, but I don't know why it bothered me so much. Seeing that Michigan and Ohio State game, like that thumbnail was above an important soccer match, like a Brazil or something, and I'm like as much as we're into it, I think and everyone else is kind of like feeling super positive about the World Cup. There's still like college football is still, pretty popular.
No, I agree, and I saw the same thing, but I also saw a report that the USA England game drew 20 million viewers between Fox Sports and Telemundo, which is, again, we have to do. It's only every 4 years, but that helps.
Sure, yeah.
It's going to take a couple more cycles, but we'll eventually overcome Ohio State, Michigan. Football.
Yeah,
it is what it is. But 20 million viewers, that's legit.
Absolutely. In fact, it'll be interesting to see what the viewership was for today's game. I mean, obviously, Iran may not be necessarily as big a draw as England, but given the significance of the game, who knows? Yeah. So, very cool. Very cool. So let's jump into the games itself. The USA Wales game in particular. Did you have any takeaways from that game?
I'll let you go first, Marcello, so I could contradict you.
I was just surprised about how aggressive we were. I mean, like, look at our center, like our midfield. It's like Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Yunus Musa. It's like those guys held it down. I love that midfield pairing. Personally, I think they're great. But just the fact that like those guys held it down and everyone else did a great job. I was just really surprised in how much on the front foot, if you will, like how aggressive we were in the attack. And dude, these kids are like not afraid, and I love that. So I was really surprised by how aggressive they were and how aggressive the whole game was and high intensity the whole match. So that's what I liked.
I totally agree. Our defense, goalkeeper defense, midfield is actually like probably the best we've had ever, maybe for the US. And we're actually probably at the weakest we've ever been at the striker position. So, looking at the Wales game, we dominated them, but we just can't score goals, And so, Zimmerman made a huge mistake giving that penalty away. So you take that away, we still win 1-0 like we did today. Like we dominated again, we'll get to today's game, but we dominated the Wales game, but we just can't like score goals. So we are suspect to one misstep, So that's the frustration is we used to have Lennon, Donovan, McBride, Dempsey, and somebody we could count on, and now we have zero, but we have like probably the best defensive midfield that we've ever had, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely, man. I mean, yeah, you mentioned for sure that the U.S. is struggling to score goals, but I mean, I did like the connection that we got with Pulisic and Tim Weah on that particular goal that we got. It was just beautifully done. But
those are our two wingers, right?
Yeah.
That was our left winger, right winger scored a goal. Still, we haven't had a goal scored from our number 9, our striker, and we probably won't. It's frustrating. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, and Marcello turned me on to the what's it called? The podcast for that Jimmy Conrad does. We Believe in USA. Yeah, that's been pretty interesting. They kind of talked about the struggles that players have had. Like Haji Wright's been struggling the minutes he's gotten, and then
why is Haji Wright even on this team? I don't get it.
Yeah, it trips me out too, man. Trust me.
So yeah, I mean, it may have been better suited to some of the other strikers we do have. Like, I don't know, Jesus Ferreira. But again, I don't know if he's yeah. But I mean, again, it was interesting to see some of the good defensive plays they did make. It was actually a really good defensive foul that Kellen Acosta had made on what's his name, Gareth Bale, to stop them from that. Yeah, so I guess they know each other pretty well for playing for that other, I
was gonna say you probably were purposely not mentioning their names because they are LAFC fans. I mean, players.
Yeah, whatever. No, I mean, they definitely obviously play together. So Kellen Acosta knows him well, and it was a great defensive stop. So it was really great to see that play.
Yeah, no, I actually, I think I was like looking down and I missed it, but from what everyone else has said, it was like a great stop. I mean, I think we really sort of announced ourselves. I'm saying we, like I'm on the damn team, but I'm not. But I think we really announced ourselves as a team to be reckoned with that first game, and so I was happy about that.
I agree with you, Marcelo. I think we're getting the international stage recognition that our midfield is really freaking good. And everyone's saying, but we can't score goals. And I can't help but agree with them. And it just is what it is. And it's frustrating. We got out of the group, and that's a win. We're playing the Netherlands next, and anything could happen. They're having a poor tournament, and I'll let you run with this, Albert, but dude, we made it out of the group. Did Mexico make it out of the group? Did Costa Rica? Like, we're CONCACAF, so we should be the ones making it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure, man, for sure.
And we did, and that's a win. At the end of the day, it's a win.
No, definitely. In fact, there's some really cool takeaways. So going into the England game now, the England game was the very first time that the U.S. had ever shot out a European opposition since 1950, when coincidentally the U.S. beat England 1-0 in that historic game. So that was kind of cool stat to see, shutting out English opposition.
We dominated them. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying about that game, like the game on Friday?
Yeah, the Friday's game. Really exciting game. Like I mentioned, I got to watch it in Arizona with my parents, and then for my dad the whole game. Then my mom came in and she started like just going like I do sometimes when I'm watching games. So that was kind of fun to see. But yeah. So again, US did fantastic against England. I mean, I was really, really proud of their effort, and they had some really, really good shots. I think Weston McKennie had like a sitter, right, that he like just overshot. It almost seemed like it was the perfect opportunity to score right there.
Again, we've been like today. We should have had like 3 goals in that first half, and we kept skying them over.
Yeah.
And it's just nerves. I think it is what it is. But hey, dude, England dropped what, like 3 in the second half on Wales today,
and 6 against Iran when they played them.
Exactly, dude. And we shut them out. Like, that's what I'm saying. Our midfield, our defense is solid right now. We're world class. We just can't score goals, man.
I'll tell you what, man. Yunus Musa is already being like sort of scouted. I wouldn't say scouted. Like, I'm sure he's going to get like either a contract extension at Valencia or some big team is going to come out and pick him up. Tyler Adams, like, dude, that guy just put up his like international stock just went up. And I mean, McKennie's already at Juventus, but I heard he may not be playing as much as he wants. So my guess is like, come like next transfer windows, whenever anyone can, those guys are going to go to bigger clubs than where they're at. You know,
Dude, they dominated Rice and freaking Henderson. Like they dominated guys.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Seriously.
I mean, like, I watch the Premier League pretty religiously, so like seeing that lineup as it is, like I think English fans have like the same gripe with Southgate as American fans have with Berhalter, because we all want our dudes to, like, you know, play. Like Gio Reyna hasn't played as much as we wanted to, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, looking at that team as a foreigner, the English team, I'm like, that's a pretty stacked team, man. And they have guys on the bench who are just as great. And the fact that we were able to, I'm just going to be aggressive, not be afraid. I mean, just seeing Tyler Adams just
but today
pushing people around was great.
Who crushed Wells today? Rashford. And you know what? Rashford hasn't started a game this whole freaking cycle because Southgate is in love with Harry Kane and it's this whole English freaking thing. And exactly, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like Southgate sucks, dude. But England should be doing what they're doing more. And again, you put Rashford in second half and 2 goals in a row. Like,
yeah.
And how many goals did Harry Kane score? Oh, he's got an assist. It was great, an assist, but you know.
But as much as I hate Tottenham, like Harry's like a great number 9, man. He's a great.
It is, but that's the Premiership. This is the World Cup, man. Like
no, absolutely, I agree with you. But I mean, like, he's got like a great number 9 in him. I don't think it works for him in Southgate's lineup. But I know we're talking about America, and we don't have a number 9.
But we should also say Southgate sucks in England. Is they're underperforming. They're underperforming.
I've heard. I mean, okay. So, like, I know we're gonna go into the Iran game, but like, who takes over Pulisic's spot if he doesn't make it onto the roster?
Aronson was an upgrade over Pulisic. Let's just be honest. Pulisic's set pieces have sucked. All those corner kicks sucked, and Aronson immediately. And I was texting my brother during the game. I was like, "Hey, I hate to say it, but Aronson's an upgrade over Pulisic." And he was like, "Yeah, dude, it's not a popular opinion, but it's true." And hey, but albeit though, Pulisic scored the goal, and that was a world-class goal. It's gutsy, dude, and God bless him, man. Captain America all freaking day. But when it comes to holding up play, Aronson's better because we have no number 9. We need that winger to hold the ball and to distribute it better and to also pressure the defense, which Aronson's hands over whatever better than Pulisic.
His first
Pulisic was able to be subbed out at halftime because Berhalter sucks at subs, and so he was forced to sub Aronson early, which actually probably benefited us.
Well, yeah, because like if you put Aronson in the like 70th minute or 75th minute, that doesn't give him enough time. It doesn't give him enough time to like make an impact.
Exactly. So we actually
also to your point, Derek, the first Premiership goal that Aronson scored was pressuring Edouard Mendy, Chelsea, and pressuring him and then scoring a no-look goal.
And that's why Aronson's
into the net.
So good. He's so good. He's like a mosquito. He just like pressures the heck out of the post third, and it's better than Pulisic right now. It is what it is. But it's hard. If I was Berhalter, it'd be hard to start Aronson over Pulisic. I get that, but that's where I'm saying we almost got lucky that he got injured. Knock on.
We'll have to see the reports that I read were indicating that it was a pelvic contusion, so he's listed as day-to-day.
Well, if you look at it, it's because that goalie, like the way they collided, his foot went right into Pulisic's groin, man. Like,
Yeah, with tensions
right
being the way they are and everything going on in Iran, I didn't want to speak too much, but I mean, yeah, as Tom would say, that there was maybe some dirty plays going on in that game. I don't want any Iranians coming after me.
That goalie, dude, remember when he got his nose smashed in that first game with was that England? That first game, dude?
Yeah.
Broke his nose.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It was already
that was gnarly. I remember that.
It was like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas that grew like 4 times. It's crazy.
Yeah. He looked like Toucan Sam. That's what it looked like.
The other notable injury from the Iran game would have been Josh Sargent. I guess it was like I don't remember exactly what happened, but
he tore his ACL.
Was it that bad? You think?
I've been in medical
yeah
for 20 years. I can tore his ACL. Just watch. Just wait.
Okay, so he's done.
Okay, Derek.
What happens is when you tear your ACL, it actually like you feel the pain in your ankle. That's why he kept grabbing his ankle. But I'm telling you, I'm marking now on this podcast. It's stamped in history. He tore his ACL.
Maybe
I'm
this
not
is
a doctor, but you know,
this is definitely a question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Did you guys see you guys saw the replay, the slow-mo replay? Like, he definitely tried to draw the foul. He got it. And I think on the follow through, that's when he hurt himself. Like
when he stepped on the ball and then his foot hit the ground, you saw his knee buckle. He tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Oh.
So my question is, do you think if he hadn't like hammed it up that he wouldn't have hurt himself?
No, if he wouldn't have stepped on the ball, he would have been fine. It was a breakaway. It was a great opportunity.
Yeah. Okay, that might be why they haven't announced anything. I mean, with Pulisic, they announced right away that's what happened with them. But Josh Sargent, I haven't heard any news, so I was just kind of fearing maybe something like that.
Sargent actually had his best game. Like,
he was all over the field, man.
He was doing his job, and it just sucks because you know.
I mean, we should weekend at Bernie's Sargent.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, that's funny, man. That's funny. Well, cool, man. Cool. So actually, I wanted to ask you, unless there were other talking points from those particular 3 games, I wanted to ask you about Berhalter. So on that podcast, on the In Soccer We Trust podcast, they mentioned about going through different coaches through cycles, you know. So after Berhalter's had 4 years now, but I mean, they got out of the group stage. So regardless of what happens with the Netherlands, should Berhalter keep his job, or would you like to see someone else take over?
Absolutely, someone else. You should never be a coach for a national team longer than one cycle. Like, it's just, you shouldn't. That's my principle. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think Berhalter has I think it was nepotism the whole way he was even hired. It was a whole this American thing. And I'm not saying if it would have happened, you know, Tata Martino or anyone else, we would have played better, but you know, he did his job. You know, we got out of the group. Let's move on. Let's keep getting better and bring fresh blood. And I hate the fact U.S. soccer is so intense on like keeping the same people. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you gotta just like bring in new blood, new ideas. Like we can't get sucked into this cycle of like complacency and familiarity. Like, keep pushing, you know.
I think after this World Cup, if Berhalter is out, I think that the team has opened up their options of who can coach him, like who will be interested. I think people are going to look at this young team and say, oh, there's some talent. There's a lot of like international club experience. And I think they're going to sort of have a few more extra names who would be interested. I mean, I don't even know who's out there, and to be honest with you, but I think whoever's going to be the next coach is definitely going to be better than Berhalter.
I agree, because being one of the youngest teams in the tournament, again, like you said, Marcelo, like if you were a coach, you're like, I'm going to have the same group for another cycle, like. Heck yeah, like why wouldn't you jump at this talent, you know? Like
yeah. Also to I have this like thing against like US footballers who go abroad who then come back and finish out their careers in the US, and then they get older and then they become coaches. I feel like they think they have better soccer minds or better football minds than other people, and they get too cerebral, and then they're like they can't be convinced otherwise about certain things, which is why like I think there is like genuinely a beef between Berhalter and Gio Reyna. Like there's no really explanation why he's out.
It's funny you bring that up, Marcelo, because I was thinking the same thing because Landon Donovan on these last couple like broadcasts, I've been like, man, I think he could really like get something out of these guys. But then I think about like a Maradona, right? Where he couldn't, even though, and so I'm like,
no,
Landon Donovan, because he knows what it means to like put it into that sixth gear that doesn't exist, can he translate that over to people that don't understand it? And I'm like, no, because Maradona couldn't do it. Our German coach, what was his name?
Jurgen Klings.
Yeah, Jurgen Klinsmann couldn't translate. Like, so like great players haven't turned out to be great coaches. So yeah, and Berhalter wasn't a great player and he's not a great coach. So he's a bad example. So it's one of those, I don't know.
Well, he played for Galaxy, didn't he, Albert?
Yeah, towards the end of his career, because when Bruce was coaching the team, he liked those veteran guys. So, I mean, he did some good mentorship for some of the center backs they had at the time. So,
what do you think of Berhalter, Albert?
Berhalter has sucked with, sorry, Albert. Berhalter has sucked with tactical changes until literally today. And
okay,
he actually did a good job today. And I was pissed when he brought in Zimmerman and Homeboy. And you know what?
Shaq Moore.
I have to admit, in hindsight, like that was a good move. Like he pulled it off. And that was the first time I played. Because literally as he's subbing them in, I'm texting like my brothers. I'm like, Greg is an idiot. You know what I mean? But it was off. We advanced. And I have to admit, like, that was a good freaking move. And that was the first time I've ever said that about Greg.
Mm-hmm. Yo, to answer your question, Marcelo, I mean, for the most part, I like him, but I would agree that coaching on the club level is way different from the national team level. So with the club level, I think you absolutely should be rewarded with your good results. So, I mean, if your team's winning, particularly winning championships, yes, you keep your job. But as far as like a national team is concerned, where we're constantly cultivating new players, new ones are coming in. I think like Derek said, I mean, having new blood, bringing in new ideas would probably be the best bet. So even if they get past the Netherlands, I don't necessarily think that should qualify Berhalter to for sure keep his job. Whereas, I mean, if they're winning championships in Major League Soccer or wherever it is, and he's winning, then yeah, I would say keep it on the club level. I think it's more results based, I think, on the club level versus the national level, where you want to kind of more go with rotation with ideas, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Were there any other talking points from the three games, or did you want to jump into some general World Cup talk?
I think against England, the second game, we really played well. Like, we really vindicated. Like, we beat England. We just don't have a striker. We couldn't score a goal, but we dominated that game, and that should not be belittled or forgotten. Like, we beat them, and that's a big freaking deal. You know what I mean? Like, again, Rice, Henderson, all those amazing players they had, and they couldn't, like, we dominated that game. We couldn't score a goal, but we dominated it, like on face value, on the eyeball test. And that's a huge freaking deal, man. And when it comes to this Iran game, we dominated them. We should have scored 3 goals that first half, but we just don't have, again, a striker. But our midfield and our defense is actually really freaking good. And
yeah,
it is what it is. It's frustrating because we don't have a number 9, but at the end of the day, like we're one of the second or third youngest team in this tournament. Like
second youngest.
So we like, again, as long as we get out of the group, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Netherlands, we're playing with house money, and it is what it is. I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna be happy no matter what happens on Saturday. But I am very pleased with how we've made it through this group, and we don't have a striker. And as long as like we all know that, but the rest of the team is solid, I'm actually really happy with how things have turned out. Like. I wish we could do like a weird science movie experiment and just make a striker. I've tried it. It doesn't work.
So I feel you there.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Well, another interesting stat to bring up is that not only was it the first, shutout against European opposition, it's the first 2 consecutive game shutout. So shutting out England, shutting out Iran. Never happened before.
Hey, if you think about it, we had 3 shutouts.
Yeah.
There was no goals against us. If the run of play, the one goal was a penalty kick, which Turner actually went to the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually touched it.
If it wasn't for the perfect kick, he would have blocked it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if you think about it, we've had 3 shutouts. Like that's freaking good, man. Like
at 3 shutouts, and we're not parking the bus. That's what's great.
We're not. We're going after it. And so we don't have a striker. We don't have a number 9. It is what it is. Everything else, if you look at it, this is a win, dude. This is a great tournament. Like we're going somewhere.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever's called up to be the coach next, they just I got my boots, bring the number 9. And just
Very nice, man. Very nice. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very exciting game for Saturday. Can't wait. Very, very excited for that. So with general World Cup talk, has there been a particular goal from any team that you've really, really enjoyed? For me personally, I guess I'm kind of biased for my Brazilian people. I developed my love of the game there. Everything's been fantastic watching them play. The goal by, I have to get his name right, because if any Brazilian fans are listening, they're probably going to tease me for butchering his name. Richard Nielsen, the guy who had the bicycle. Richarlison, thank you. Okay, yeah. So my Brazilian friends are gonna make fun of me for that. It was really, really cool. In fact, when the ball came to him, like Stuart Holden was making the call, like saying that he kind of like juggled the ball or just like messed up the pass, receiving the pass, but he made it look so fluid and cool that like when he shot up in the air and then bicycle kicked it in, it was pretty sweet. And then I got a text from like Nick, like minutes later, like, "Whoa, did you see that goal? That was pretty sweet." So I'd probably say that's been my favorite goal so far.
Talking about. Love you, Nick.
That's been my favorite one so far. But do you guys have any other goals that you've really enjoyed seeing so far in the tournament?
I have to admit, like I've really enjoyed watching France play, and I get it. I'm French and Spanish is what it is. The way France has, like, even when they went a goal down, how they just like step up and dominate him. And Mbappe's like that goal where he scored with his thigh, you're just like, this guy is like feeling himself, you know what I mean? And and I haven't seen that even with Spain dominating, and Spain's been fun to watch. But then they struggled against Germany. You're like, I don't know, and even Brazil, and especially with Neymar going down, you're like, I don't know. Like France seems like the complete 11 man on the field plus, subs, like complete like team, and they've been fun to watch. And it was almost France was funner to watch when they go down a goal. Like,
oh yeah, I think everyone,
I
think everyone gets that sense of urgency where, like, oh, we need a score to tie, but then that momentum just takes them straight to scoring more goals. It's like, it's almost like you want them to start out like 1 goal down just so you can see a flurry of goals afterwards.
It's been interesting to see Neymar struggle and go down with his ankle, and then to see even Messi struggle, even though he had the kind of like a comeback game this last game, but no dominant player has like stepped forward like Mbappe has, and he's been fun to watch because he hasn't taken a stumble or step back. He's just like proven all the opinions everyone's had for him, and it's been cool to see. It's legendary material.
Yeah. And then France has broken the cycle, right, for defending champions getting knocked out during the group stage.
No,
I think
France.
No, I mean that. So they made it through. So like previous, like World Cup winners, like going back to I think Brazil, not Brazil, Germany, and then Spain.
No, I think Brazil was the last.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay. Yeah. So it's good to see them advancing through. And I mean, I don't know what the odds are. Has any team ever won back-to-back tournaments?
Brazil has.
They have. Okay.
But that was like a long time ago, though, right?
Yeah. Not recently.
Who cares? It's Brazil, so.
I will have to say, so going back to your like what goal stands out the most, and maybe it's just because I'm a huge Leo Messi fan, but the one that he scored in the last match against who was that against?
Mexico, right?
Oh, Mexico, right. Yeah. I mean, like, it on paper it looks pretty simple, like, but the fact that, hits it in his like favorite left foot, and then it's like just far enough out of reach of Ochoa's. Like,
it was almost slow motion.
It was so slow motion, but it was like, man, to think about that stretch and the like small amount of space that he had to like squeeze that goal in. I mean, it's not like magical or like the best. It definitely not better than Richarlison, but it's like to show like how hard it is to score and how hard it is to score with that amount of space and doing it at full speed. It's like it's a thing of beauty.
Being Chilean, I hate Argentina, and I wish no goodness upon them. But above Argentina, I wish nothing but bad things upon the Mexican national team. So I actually for once in my life, I really enjoyed watching Messi score that goal. I was like,
oh yeah,
good for him. I didn't want to see Argentina bow out of the tournament that early. I didn't want to see Messi retire from international play in disgrace. Even though I kind of told myself I would like that, I actually enjoyed, like you said, Marcel. I really enjoyed that goal.
Yeah.
And then to see that young kid score that other goal later in the match was like, geez, dude, that was kind of cool passing of the torch, from Messi to this young new buck, and I hate to admit that, and I hate that this is being recorded and I'm admitting it, but that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
it was cool to see the Mexicans cry and bitch like they always.
Well, sort of, maybe this is not Ronaldo's goal, for instance, his air quotes goal that he's claiming is his, where Bruno Fernandes crossed it, Ronaldo jumped up and his hair follicle may have touched it, but the computer didn't even notice that it was touched by anyone, the VAR computer, whatever, and he's still claiming it. To me, I get it. A striker always wants to claim a goal, but come on.
Hey, Bruno Fernandes is having a great tournament, which is good to see as a Manchester United fan.
I mean, honestly, I hate him, but
you guys,
as an Arsenal supporter, I got to tip my hat. Tipping my hat for sure.
Very nice. So, what do you guys think has been the biggest surprise then from any team, or biggest upset result that we've seen?
I think seeing Germany struggle, but then to see them kind of pull that last game out of their hat was interesting.
I think actually, for me, Germany losing to Japan was a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
That was surprising to me. Yeah. I mean, someone had mentioned to me that like I read somewhere that I guess the Japanese domestic league had been sort of on pause for a few weeks prior versus like most of like the European clubs were playing a good week and a half before going to their training camps. So the Japanese had a little extra time, but if you're Germany, you don't lose to a Japanese team.
You know what's been interesting is now in hindsight, like Argentina loses, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened to Argentina? It's the end of the world." And then they come back and clearly dominated Mexico. And then you like when Germany lost to Japan, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Germany, end of the world." And then Germany comes back and really acquitted themselves. So I don't know if it's because it's the winter kind of transfer window where this tournament's happening, but these top teams that have struggled have not struggled 2 games in a row. They've struggled and then they've redeemed themselves. And so this is a really actually fun tournament because it's like, dude, there's no consistency. Like we're all like, oh my gosh, end of the world, Argentina lost, Germany lost, and then they come back and acquit themselves. So there's no like, this is actually probably one of the funnest World Cups I can remember, because you can't bet on it solidly. It's actually, it's to steal the NFL term, at any given Sunday, anything can happen in this tournament, which has been really interesting.
It's made it pretty cool and exciting. Like I talked about this in a previous episode I recorded with Ryan Ferrante that FIFA, the Electronic Arts video game FIFA, had done like a simulation to predict the winner, and they predicted Argentina would win and beat Brazil 1-0 in the final. And then when Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia, I was like, oh my goodness, they might even make it out of the group stage. And then also craziness, like you had mentioned, or Costa Rica losing to Spain 6-0 or whatever the score was, but then coming back to beat Japan 1-0. So, I mean, the group stage is just really exciting because you can have one bad game, but then if you can pull it through, you can actually, make something happen. So, like Derek had mentioned, the good teams, they're not messing up twice, even though maybe they can mess up once, but you don't really see them messing up twice.
Look at England. Like everyone's like, did the USA dominate them? It was a tie 0-0, but USA dominated, and then they dropped 3 on Wales today.
Mm-hmm.
And then we couldn't beat Wales. Like again, this is like it's a fun tournament, like it's really interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Yeah, so even with the video game simulation, with the technology they have to, predict outcomes, I don't know if anything's actually good at this point,
Albert, but Mexico still sucks.
That's right. Well, the video game USA was going to go further than any other CONCACAF team, and Canada's already been eliminated. So there you go.
And Canada's been fun to watch, man. Like,
yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame they're not going through because they were actually fun.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. Were there any other talking points from the World Cup, at least to this point, that you guys wanted to bring up?
I'm enjoying it simply because I think so. From like a cultural standpoint, I think there's just so many people who normally don't watch soccer who tune in for the World Cup, and just seeing how active they are on at least my social media, and friends who like text me throughout the day, and like, coworkers who are on our Slack who are like dropping in like, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? I think it's, it's just like the Olympics, right? Everyone's just like tuned in because somehow we all feel a sense of pride of like, where we're from, and we end up, it manifests itself like through sports. But other than that, I mean, I'm just like super, I don't think I've ever felt, so when I was watching the England USA game, I'm usually pretty nervous watching a game, but throughout that whole match, I was not nervous at all. Period. From the beginning to end, I was at my friend's like studio, and they're pretty much all of them are Brits. A lot of them are Brits. And so like watching them squirm and watching them look nervous to me, I'm like, oh, okay, we've got a different team than we have had in the past. And I'm like, no more, none of this, like, kicking the ball and it like going in between the goalie's keeper. And we're super happy that we scored that way. Like, we're playing great football. I think I'm going to say, like, we're aggressive, and I love that. Mm-hmm. And we have technique, no more deuces of the past, like who's a gritty player who I love, but we just have, I think we have like a promising future for sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
No, I agree with Marcello. I've really enjoyed watching this team. It's one of those weird things, kind of being not a like a front runner team, like the Hollands, England, Spain's, like Brazil's. The fact that we're like second tier, you can kind of, like Marcelo's saying, like, I never got nervous when we played England. I actually just enjoyed watching us like ball up with them. Mm-hmm. But today against Iran, whatever they're called, like, I was freaking nervous because I know we're better than them. And so you're like chomping at the bit, and it's almost like you almost like enjoy it, because like that's the whole fun of it. And then playing the Netherlands this coming Saturday, I'm not going to be nervous because now we're like against England, it's house money. It's like we can lose and it's still a successful tournament, and if we win, it's like the greatest thing ever. But today against Iran, it was like genuinely, like, you feel it in your gut. It's like being in high school again, playing your rival, it's like, and that's the freaking beauty of this sport, it's why it's amazing. And it's the beautiful game. And so coming this Saturday against Netherlands, I'm just gonna enjoy it. Like, win or lose, it's a successful tournament, and we win, you're like, oh, holy crap, like, we just beat the freaking Dutch, Mm-hmm. And I honestly think we have a chance because they're not looking that great, man. And,
no, I'm glad you said that, Derek. Yeah.
So it's just house money. Like, the Dutch aren't looking amazing. So I think if we had a freaking really number 9, like you brought it up, Marcel, if we had freaking Deuce is our number 9, like, I'd be like, we got this. But we're so freaking good, we just don't have a goal scorer. So if we did, I'd be like, this is our game to have. But the fact that we don't, it's house money. Like, this is just fun. I'm going to gather my family around. We're going to like turn the game on and have fun. And if we lose, it's still a party,
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Because it's freaking against the Dutch. And if we win, it's like, we'll have to record another podcast. It'll be, so this has been a successful tournament for the US, and I'm very happy.
Same.
Yeah, me too, man. It's gonna be so much fun. Really great stuff. But was it Austin Powers' dad who said like the one thing he was afraid of was the Dutch, though, or the one thing he couldn't stand?
I'm the Dutch.
Oh, yeah, people who are intolerant of other people's beliefs and the Dutch. Yeah. I'm excited, man. It's going to be fun. It's just so cool. Like, every day, just checking the scores. Like, sometimes, I didn't wake up for any of the early games, even though I really wish I had watched the Saudi Arabia Argentina game. That would have been pretty cool. But
yeah,
it's just nice just throwing through my phone, like, oh, who's playing right now? Oh, I want to check out that game.
I thank God we're not playing Senegal. They would torch us. But playing the Dutch, like, I think we have a chance, man. Like, that's how. And you know what? I don't think England's gonna have a good. They're gonna have a struggle with Senegal. Like, Senegal's a good freaking. Like, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I was able to catch the Senegal Ecuador game earlier in the day too. That was a really fun game too. So.
Well, Ecuador is also sort of surprising how decent they were too.
Yeah, that's a good group, man.
Very nice. Well, I definitely want to get together again to record more episodes, man. Like, it's just fun just chatting about the World Cup. There's always talking points, which is pretty exciting and cool. Like, the fact that there's so many games, and then when we get to the group stages, yes, there's fewer games, but they start at more reasonable times. So it's actually kind of nice. You don't have to get up at the middle of the night to watch a game.
All right, what's your prediction?
No.
Who's gonna win it all?
Who's gonna win it all? Oh man.
Put it on the record.
On the record right now, based on who's still here. I'm gonna go with I'll go with Brazil. I think they're gonna pull it off. Even if Neymar doesn't play anymore.
Such a homer. I like it though. I appreciate the loyalty.
I think France is going to win.
I'm saying France too.
That'd be really cool to see.
I mean, France just has depth.
So
yeah, exactly. They look solid, man.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. Well, Derek, Marcello, thank you so much for giving me your time tonight. This was always fun. Great to catch up with old friends, and you guys look great. So it's great to see you guys.
Yeah, man, for
Good
sure.
to see you guys.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. You've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, and we'll definitely get together again soon.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah,
Mexico sucks.
If you're trying to offend me, that I'm fully I identify as American.
Okay? I'm not trying to offend you, Marcel. I'm trying to offend that.
Okay, have a good night, guys. Love you.
Love you guys.